Hey guys, so today I wanted to do sort of a design with me type of video. I want to show you how to make these three elements today. And the reason I grouped these three together is because some of them are more complicated than others. We're going to start with this today marker here. And what I like to do first off is make sure that my measurement is in inches. Sometimes through the design process this will switch back to pixels because of various things that you're using, but I always make sure that I have it in inches because I know the width of an Erin Condren box or a So Much Crafting box or a Happy Planner box is 1.5 inches. This is what I like to call the standard in the planner community of making headers and stuff, is this 1.5 inch wide measurement, because it is the Erin Condren measurement. It's what's used most often. So that's what we're going to work with today. What you want to do is go to this Create Rectangles and Squares guy and just draw yourself a rectangle. Now obviously this is bigger than we want it, but we have these guides here that we can set the measurement. You also want to unlock the proportions on your new shape. We're going to make the width 1.5 inches, and then we're going to make the height, what was this one, 0.26? Yes, 0.26 inches wide. So now you have that. Then we can go to the text box here, draw a little guy here. I like to do it all in caps, and I'm going to type today. The font that I like to use is Babus New. Let's see if I can just type it in here. Babus New. I like to use that because it's going to work well with the Cricut and how the resolution is. It's not going to make it all grainy. It's all pretty much straight lines, and if it's a curve, it's a really bold curve. I'm going to press the Control key, and I'm going to use the middle scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in. I'm going to bring this up to our little guy here, and then make sure that your proportions are locked again. Every time that you're working with something, you kind of want to check this section up here to make sure that you're still doing what you want to do. And then we're just going to make this a little bit smaller. I believe with this one what I did, and you can just double click to get the text box back. I think I put a space between each letter, did it like that. We can go to fill and stroke. If this isn't showing on your side bar here, you can go click on, let's see here. Click on Object, Fill and Stroke, and it should show up right here. So now that I have this up here, oops, I messed up the opacity. I'm going to click on this scroll wheel here. This is where you just pick the colors. There's also colors down here that you can use. I'm going to drag my little guy all the way over to white, and I'm also going to open the Align and Distribute window. If that's not there, I believe you can also go Object, and let's see here, Align and Distribute, and that should bring this bar up right here in your sidebar. Then we're just going to hold down the Shift key and make sure that the box and the today letters are selected. I'm going to center it on the vertical axis, and then I'm going to center it on the horizontal axis. So now we have today headers. So you can Control C, Control V, and do another one. So this one can be to do. We'll do the same thing. Shift, select the back box, center it horizontally and center it vertically. So then we have a today and a to do, and you can make all sorts of labels that you want. I like to do Control G after I've made something so it's all grouped together, so when I grab it I can move all of it. If it's not, sometimes I will go to grab it and I just grab the box, and then it gets confusing. So just select all, drag your mouse across, click and drag your cursor across everything that you want to be grouped together, and hit Control G. Using shortcuts in this program is going to be your best helper for this. So now I want to show you how to make this little teardrop guy. There are two sorts of ways that you can try to make this. They both have the same, I guess, difficulty. So what you're going to want to do is go over here to Create Circles and Ellipses. You also want to make sure your fill color is something different than white. So you'll hold down the Control key and draw a circle here. If you don't hold down the control key while you're making the circle, it's going to end up being an oval. So you want to make sure you're holding down the control key. We also want to make a square. So hold down the control key, click on this, this little create rectangles and squares icon here, hold the control key, and just create a rectangle. I'm sorry, create a square. I'm going to change this to a different color. So this is the first way you can do this. I'm also going to zoom in, again, holding the control key and using the scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out. What you want to do is kind of line this guy up. Whoops. Line this guy up here with the edge of your circle. And this takes a little bit of playing around, and for this one it's all eyeballing it. And you can see, let's make this a different color so we can kind of see. If you can see right here, there's that little bit of yellow. So you're kind of, what you want to do is just fuss around with this guy until we have something that's sort of lined up. And what you can also try to do is go the align and distribute and align to the right here like I did, and then we can zoom in and that's pretty much aligned. And then we'll go up here and let's see, this can probably be a little bit, well, smaller. And I probably can even bring it in a little bit here. So this is all about just playing around with it. And what I just did there was I hold down the shift key and select the circle and the box and aligned top. And so if we zoom out, you can see, or scroll out, zoom out, you can see it kind of looks like a little teardrop shape here. So what we want to do is hold the shift key, select the circle, hold down the shift key, and select the purple square. We're going to go to object, I'm sorry, no, we're going to go to path and then union, and there we have our own little guy. And it doesn't matter what size you make this right now, because like I said, you can go up to your width and height and scale it how you want. So we can make this one 1/2 inch. You can make it 16 inches if you want. It's going to be huge, you know. You can do whatever you want. So the second way to do it, I find this is the easiest. And once you have this shape made, you can just copy and paste it between any of your you don't have to make it from scratch again. You can just copy and paste it between any of your designs. So if you want to make a sheet, a sticker sheet of 12 of these they're all purple, and then you want to make another sheet where they're all green, you don't have to make this shape from scratch anymore. You can just save it and then copy and paste it between your canvases. The next way to make it is to also go over here to circles, hold on your control key and draw a circle. And then also go to this Bezier curves guy, and we're going to draw some lines and make a triangle. And you have to do the same thing, sort of just play around with it. So we're going to go to the draw Bezier curves here, and you're going to hold down the control key and you're going to click. You're going to hold down the control key after you click, and you're going to draw some straight lines. And all we're doing is making a triangle. You want to go over here, go to fill and stroke. On the stroke, turn off the stroke, put the fill, turn on the fill, change it to a different color. We're also going to double click or second click on this. I don't really want to call it double click, but if you click once and then you click again, you'll get this rotation here. I like to hold down the control key and rotate it until I get it pretty flat here. Let's see here. Okay. And then we're going to do the same sort of thing. I just used my scroll wheel and held down the shift key, the control key, I'm sorry. Hold down the control key and you can use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out. For some reason I can't talk today. I'm just going to work with this, make it smaller until those edges meet. We might want to bring it down a little bit farther in the... This is all about aesthetics too. If you like it to be a little bit shorter, if you like it to be a little bit longer, you know, you can do whatever you want there. So we have this. This is sort of, you can also select both objects and sort of rotate it to get that teardrop idea. Do this. We want to work with it here, I think. If we make it like this. Okay, so now you can see that there's a little bit of this circle sticking out. What you can do, hold down the control key and zoom in with your scroll wheel, is double click on this and you get this little pointy guy here, and you can raise up the curve of the triangle here to sort of match with the edge of the circle if you like. And now we have a sort of like a guy with a cap on kind of thing. So then the same thing, hold down the shift key and select both of your circle and your triangle, go to path and go to union, and you have, this one's more pointy than the other one, but you can play around with it. You have your teardrop. So those are the two ways that you can make a teardrop. And like I said, you can just Control C, Control V, and we can just change the color to be whatever we want. You know, I don't like that green color, I want that color. Blue, I want it a little bit darker. You just use the scroll wheel to make whatever colors that you like. And so then you can fill a whole page. I will leave a link down below to how to make a sticker sheet using Inkscape, and you just do the same sort of process as that. You don't have to add an offset. What your Cricut is going to read when it has a PNG image is it's going to cut around this teardrop shape here. So today headers, or headers in general, teardrop shapes. Now we're going to work on making a heart checklist here. So this is just as complicated as any of the other ones, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So there are multiple components to creating a heart checklist. We've got hearts and we've got rectangles, and that's pretty much it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go click on this draw Bezier curves here and begin to draw another triangle. So this time we're going to draw the triangle a little bit different. You're going to click on the canvas, hold down the control key, bring this line up here, click to make a corner, bring it over again, click to make another corner, and while you're holding down the control key, you're going to get a pretty good, what is this, a scalene triangle? Is that what this is? You got equilateral, you got isosceles, you got a scalene triangle. Pretty sure this is scalene. You know, I did major in math when I was in college, and then I was like, I don't want to look at a board all day solving problems, so I'm going to major in art. So you want to leave the stroke on for this one because it makes it easier to work with. We're going to click on the Edit Paths by Nodes guy here. And we're going to do the same sort of thing where we made a curve with the edges of the triangle on that teardrop. We're going to bring this up like this and kind of bring this out like this. Then we're also going to click on this smooth node tool up here and click on this node here, click on this smooth node guy, and then you have your heart shape. Now I'm really particular about my heart shapes, so I kind of want to play with it until I feel like I've got something that I like here. Okay, so now we can go here. Let's turn off the stroke and turn on the fill. We'll make it red just for the sake of it being a heart. And you can see it's like half of a heart. So now that we have this half of the heart, what you're going to do is hit Control D. That's going to make a duplication of that. You see that there? So Control D, we're going to go over here and flip it here. I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to kind of move it over. I'm going to hold down the shift key and select the other half of the heart. You want to make sure that you have this last selected object, or I guess drop down menu box thingy. You want to make sure that last selected is selected. Then you want to go here and select Align Right Edges. That's going to bring it together and make it a heart. Then you just want to click and drag your mouse to select it all. Go to Path, Union, and now you have a heart. So this is what we're going to do. Make sure that your proportions are locked again. Obviously it's huge, but we're just going to make it smaller, and you can obviously see now you have a heart in your little heart checklist. So there is that. I'm going to make it bigger just so we can see it here. Next part of this is to draw your rectangles. I'm just going to draw a random size rectangle. We're going to make sure that we go to fill and stroke and change it to a different color just so we can see what we're working with. It doesn't matter what color you're designing in. I like to design in colors that are different from each other. Like I'm not going to design with the two colors that are very similar because it's going to be hard to see the objects on top of each other. We can just go ahead and change the colors when we're done. It doesn't matter what color you start designing in. So we're going to unlock the proportions. We're going to change this to 1.5 inches wide by 1.9 inches tall. That is the standard sticker heart checklist, ombre heart checklist size for an Erin Condren planner. And that's what I'm going to work with because that's what I'm used to. If you want to make a heart checklist in whatever size your boxes and your planners are, use the same kind of system to do that. Just make your heart, make your size box, whatever you want to do, however many checklists you want to have, however many check boxes you want to have, that's perfectly fine. So now what we want to do is decide how many sections, how many ombre sections we want. I have 5 in this box. 5. I'm very picky about the shape of my hearts and about how many checklists there are in my ombre heart check boxes. So I like to have 5. If there's too many, that's too many. If there's too few, that's too few for me. So I decided to have 5. So what we want to do is go to our calculator here. Let's see here. So I just opened up my calculator and I'm going to take the 1.9 inches that the box is tall and divide it by 5. So that means each of these boxes has to be 0.38 inches wide. Now, all we need to do is really create one box with one amount of opacity that's going to create all of this ombre guy here. So we know that we have to have each box be 0.38 inches wide. Instead of just making box after box after box after box, what we're going to do is create a box that is 4 times the 0.38 inches tall. Does that make sense? So if your box was a different height, you're going to do this same sort of thing. So 0.38 times 4 is a 1.52 inch height box. So we see this one is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to click on the box that I'm designing, this chartreuse color. I'm going to hit Control D. We're going to change the fill down here. We're going to drag it. You can see we're dragging it to white. We're going to change the opacity here. And I've decided that 20% is a really good opacity for this, for this box here. So 20%. We're also going to make it only be 1.52 inches tall. So there we have that. I'm going to take this box again, the box I just made, and I'm going to hit Control D. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say 0.38 times 3. Okay, we need a box that's 1.14 inches tall. So 1.14. And you can see that's easily creating this ombre where you don't have to keep adding on your opacity, changing it, creating little tiny boxes. This is the easiest way to create this. If you wanted 6, you would just do it this same way, dividing the 1.9 by 6 and then multiplying it up as you are trying to get new boxes. So we're going to hit Control D again. I'm going to go over here, 0.38 times 2. 0.76, so this box needs to be 0.76 inches tall. And then we know the smallest box needs to be 0.38, so Control D, 0.38. There we go. Now you have an ombre heart checklist. You can hit Control G so you're not moving them all different. Like if we were to do that accidentally, you would move it. Now we want to add our heart in. If your heart is behind, if any element is behind another element and you want to bring it to the top, this is your greatest helper up here. We're just going to click that. It's going to bring it to the top. I'm going to hold down the Control key and I'm going to zoom in using my scroll wheel on my mouse. And I'm just going to make this guy smaller, making sure that I have the proportions locked, unless you want to play around with how it looks. If you want to make it more squatty, if you want to do, whatever, you can do that. But let's keep the proportions locked. We're going to hold down the Shift key, and that's going to kind of bring it all in from the center, make it bigger from the center, just so you can see how that works. So that might be a little bit too big. We may want to, We may want to click on it and make it a little bit more squished like that. Maybe bring it down a little bit more. Let's see here. And you just play with it until you have the right size that you think for your box. I'm actually going to change it to white just so I can get a better visual of what I think is going on. And then this is all just a visual thing, how you like it, if you like it, whatnot. So we've got one heart there. Now we want to Control D 4 times. I think I did it one too many. Let's see here. Okay. Control D, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and I'm going to move the last one down to the bottom here, and I'm just going to eyeball it in the center. That looks about right. And then we're going to select all of the hearts. It may look like there's only 2 there, but I promise there's more. We're going to go to Align and Distribute. We're going to make sure that we have Selection Area selected right there, and we're going to distribute vertical and make the gaps equal. So you can see it's distributed equally along that axis there, and now you have a heart checklist with 5 sections. So we can Control G, group it all together. Now if you want to make a sticker sheet of all of these, you don't have to design this from scratch again. We can Control C, Control V, Shift Control G is going to ungroup it. And then we only have to change this back color. So let's go to Fill and Stroke. We're going to change it to red. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to copy this one. Control C, Control V. I'm only going to change this back color. I'm going to change it to blue. Control V. I'm only going to change this back color. I'm going to change it to this like teal green. So now you have your heart checklist. So that is how you design a Today header, or just a header in general, teardrops, as well as an ombre heart checklist. I hope this video was helpful for you. This is all designed in Inkscape. Inkscape is a free program. I can't believe I didn't say that at the beginning, but Inkscape is a free drawing software. It's free. It's 100% free 99. It is free. It is an illustration software. It's much like Adobe Illustrator. You can create SVGs. You can create PNG files. This is how I design a lot of my stickers for the Cricut Explore. And you can also use this to design stickers to import into Silhouette Studio. So if you want to, the reason I like to design in Inkscape is because it's a program that I know is making a file. It's not making a third-party file is what I like to call it. I don't know if that's the true terminology for it or not. It's not making a file that you can only open in a specific software. So if I'm making a, okay, Google Drive, thank you. If I'm making an ombre heart checklist, I can save it as a PNG. I can open it in my Cricut Explore. I can add it to Silhouette software. I can open it in a paint program. I can upload it to Facebook. I can open it in a Microsoft Word document. I'm making something that I can use across multiple platforms. If you design in Silhouette Studio, you can only open that program or open that file in Silhouette Studio. If you design in Word, you can only open that file in Word or in another text editing software. If you, and save it as a doc. I know sometimes you can right click and save things that you've created as images, which is very helpful. I don't have Word. I have OpenOffice. If you're designing in Cricut Design Space, you can only open that file. It's all cloud-based, so you can only open that file on Cricut Design Space. So this is helpful to create objects that you can work with. Design Space crashes a lot in Cricut with your Cricut working online. It's annoying. If you have this, then you can design offline. You don't have to be connected to the internet to use Inkscape. You just have to download it, and then you can do it on the train. You can do it on a plane. It doesn't matter. So I really like this program for designing. So if you want to export this as a PNG image, what you can do is you can export it as an SVG, which is going to make it a layerable file. If you upload that to Cricut Design Space, Cricut is going to want to cut each individual of these objects. It's not going to want to cut it as a flattened print and cut style object. So we can just go to Export PNG. I would suggest arranging all of these like you were making a sticker sheet. Again, I will leave that link to my video to make a sticker sheet. It's not with elements, it's with like individual stickers where you've created an offset, but it's kind of the same way. You would just align it the way that you want to. We can go into export PNG image. It's going to export what you have selected here. So, oh, it's up here already. I'm thinking it's trying to bring it down below. So we've clicked on export PNG image. We have selected what we want to select, and we're going to click on export as. So once we've clicked on export as, I've already done this because I messed up a second ago. We're going to export it. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to name it what we want to name it. You just find the area on your computer, the file, the folder you want to save it on. Name it whatever you want to name it, red ombre heart checklist, and click on save. Then we're going to go to export, and you're going to click on export. That's what's going to save it. Just because you've clicked on export as and then save, it has not generated a PNG image yet. Now that we have clicked on export, we have generated that PNG image. And so we can go and find it in our on our desktop here. So I save my things to Google Drive. Under here, free stickers, test, red ombre heart checklist. So now you can upload that single checklist to Cricut Design Space. Use it wherever you want to use it. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm going to have another video on designing more elements, and then I'm also going to have another video on how to create a sticker sheet using the elements if you want to you know, change colors week to week if you have different things that you want to use. So if you did like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I would love for you to stick around and see what more Cricut Design Space and silhouette design and sticker design videos that I have to offer. Like I said, you can use these things that you've made. You can open them in Silhouette Studio. You can open them in Word. You can open them in a Google document. You can open it in Cricut Design Space. It's really helpful to be able to design in a program that's going to let you have a lot of flexibility. So I know this video was kind of long-winded, but again, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will talk to you on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.